Hello, everyone. My name is Matt, and I work for the Forest Park Public Library. I'm here today with Augie Alexi, owner of Centuries and Sleuths, to talk a little bit about their business and how they've handled the current situation. If you enjoy this interview, you can check out more of them at our new FPPL TV section at tv.fppl.org. So, Augie, can you give a
Yeah.
brief description of your business uh, and how long you've been in business?
Okay. It is a small, independent bookstore specializing in history, mystery, biography for both adults and children. We have different kinds of events to make it different, and kind of the theory of the store is making books come alive. And we do that through discussion groups, author appearances, and we've been doing this for 30 years. Uh, and also being around 30 years, it means it's working. And also the participation of the customers and the help from the authors too has helped us survive and prosper.
Good. So, what were your biggest challenges in getting started?
Well, that's an interesting question because um, I think the toughest part is getting started, jumping off, you know, the cliff, and hopefully you land in the water, deep water. Uh, but up to that time, what's important is gathering statistics. But as you know, if you've done paper, if you've done research in that, uh, statistics, you can bury yourself in that and avoid making the final decision. My research was to see what people in the Oak Park area, that's where I initially opened up the store, were were reading, and they gave me access to the circulation for the last, the year prior to my opening up the store. So that would have been 1989, and it was wonderful using the Dewey Decimal System. I specialized it in, or I looked at it by the Dewey Decimal codes, and history, mystery, and biography combined beat any of the other categories. The one that offered the most challenge to it as one single item was do it yourself. But as you know, being a librarian, do it yourself could mean gardening, building, anything that means requires you to put something together or find out research. So uh, I found that out from the circulation. Now, I also met with four retired executives from a group supported by the federal government called SCORE. And these are all successful business people from Evanston, another place on the north side. And they said, "Oh, Augie, that's great. You're finding what people are reading for free. You want to find out what they're paying for." And they said, "You've got to put together some type of survey you can mail out to the area you want to establish your store." And so they said, "We cannot do the survey for you, but we can look at it and give you suggestions." So I did a 4-page survey. Uh, uh, what would you call it? 2 pages or 4 pages folding thing. And I did not give them an indication of what type of bookstore I was opening. And in the process, I sent out 3,000 mailings, and the people at SCORE said, "Why don't you give them $1 for the survey, to filling out the survey?" And the fellow was really gracious, and I unfortunately I can't think of his name. He was the one who actually did the mailings and coordinated it. Said, "Why not, instead of $1 off, why not a quarter?" He says, "I got this new system that attaches the quarter, to it without any problems through the mailing process." So I did that, and it was amazing. I got $11.25 back in change, all in quarters, and one 25-cent stamp, because 25 cents was what first class postage was going for at that time. And most of the comments were, "If you're starting a business or if you're starting a bookstore, you need the money more than I do." And I'd be delighted to fill out this survey for nothing. And again, being a native of Oak Park and myself, Oak Parkers have a tendency to give more information than, it was the idea of what their suggestions were for me as a bookstore. And some of the suggestions were very good in terms of checking some of the successful existing bookstores. Um, Again, so those were the biggest thing was gathering the facts to justify the type of store I wanted to open. Because in reality, I did not want to open up a bookstore, just open up a bookstore. It had no interest for me. History and mystery and biography were what I wanted to do. But the statistics also from the questionnaire I sent out to people what they were reading. Again, the one that did history and mystery beat out anything that was out there as a category. But I sent it out in January of 1990, and there was a lot of Christmas reflections in that. So the biggest thing to compete was like your picture books, your art books um, for that time. So again, what I'm saying is I did the statistics, I did my homework, and it gave me justification for making my decision. But still, it's like making the decision to ask uh, your partner to marry you or changing jobs. It's that is probably the biggest challenge in starting a business.
Okay. What challenges has your business faced during the pandemic, and how have your experiences from previous challenges equipped you to face those new ones?
Well, the biggest challenge is the lack of face-to-face communications. As I said, to answer your first question, we have a mystery, history, and GK Chesterton group that discussion groups that meet, and also with the author signings. And without the ability to meet face to face, it kind of squashes that. Also, and I know like we're doing right now with the Zoom, and we can do those kind of things. But right now, I do appreciate more the face to face, and also keeping up communications with those who you've had for customers for 30 years in our case is what helps too. And it kind of demonstrates itself. And I know it sounds prideful, but it seems like there's a lot of people out there who want to make sure Centuries and Sleuths survives this COVID-19 pandemic in terms of coming in and buying books when they can, or ordering online, electronically, and the purchases they've made. Not that they didn't make big purchases before, but have exceeded what their usual purchases are. And they're telling me it's something for them to read through the duration. I think it's also the quantities. They're good books. Don't let me. They're not just buying books to buy books. They're buying the books and what they like, but they're buying it to help me survive the duration. And also to prior to being a bookstore owner, I was in banking, and I got my MBA in finance. So I wasn't completely a dreamer in what I was doing. It helps to have the financial understanding. Not that it makes a difference in some cases, but you just have to know where you're going and keeping tabs on when you're doing the right thing and when you're not. Uh, and so, I mean, those are things that have come and helped me to meet the challenges, and also family support, your immediate family in terms of my wife and my son encouraging me instead of discouraging me in times like this.
Well, that's great to hear that people have stepped up during these
Yeah.
times. What do you foresee will be the new normal in your business?
Mm. I hope the new normal comes about with a vaccine being found, and again having the meetings, the in-person meetings again. And again, all the members of the discussion group say how much they miss it. Uh, and I'm in the store alone, working on a computer, making phone calls, ordering books, and that. but you miss the people conversing. Okay, another thing I have to do with this uh, new surrounding is learn more about electronic usage, the um, doing the videos, doing Zoom and that to get people together, but also to you have to have the customers that are enthusiastic, or have the customers that are enthusiastic about that. And several of my customers in what you call the COVID-19 threatened group don't really want to do things electronically. They're proud that they can look things up on the internet and find pictures and poems that they like and books, but the idea they can't comprehend having a meeting like we're doing and understanding and seeing the expression on each other's faces. And with these groups, they're very social, but we try to stick with the topic that the group is reading. And, we've been kind of like Martinette's and that, Martinique's, in terms of making sure we stay on topic, meaning the book that we're reading in preparation. And there's wit uh, and criticism and disagreement, but it's for the most part, it's in a quite civilized way and also makes you laugh, after you've heard it. Um, but see, that's why I'm praying for a treatment or a vaccine, uh, because I really don't know. And you're younger, a lot younger than me, and so you see the benefits of electronics. Um, I know. I like to see people face to face, and even the shaking hands and that.
Well, it's not quite the same as like I know how to use this stuff, so I can have Zoom meetings with a bunch of people, but it's not quite the same as actually being there.
I agree.
So what has inspired you throughout this whole pandemic?
uh, my wife is my muse, but in terms of what inspires me, is the books I've read, the people I've read about, and also wanting to share that. I think inspiration is like, and believe me, I've run across people who read books and that's all they do. They don't really want to share their ideas with anybody. Like anybody else's opinion isn't as good as mine anyway, so I don't want to talk. But for the most part, I would say 90% of the people I deal with do like to find out what other people think about what they've read or who they've read about. And that's what I enjoy, the mixing of ideas. And also I feel very proud too, and the fact that I'm enlightening people about certain subjects and certain things that have happened that they had, they knew nothing about, but also things that I wasn't familiar with. Like for instance, my customer John Klein has been helpful in introducing me to different aspects of history that I was mystery and history that I wasn't aware of prior to my conversations with him. So it's the teaching and sharing, but sharing also the other way where you're getting information that's helpful to either change your opinion or discard that information and reinforce your opinion. So I think that's what, and if it isn't obvious by now, I love what I'm doing. I think it's important um, to have people have a forum where they can talk about their ideas. Primarily, we keep them in a historical and in the mystery of fictional point. And when it comes to the Chesterton group, kind of moral aspects. But I mean, we can even in fact, one time I actually asked the group to read the current Pope's encyclical about the preservation of the earth. And that was a wonderful time. And that was people from the history, mystery, and G.K. Chesterton group sitting and talking. So, and again, it's the sharing of ideas, the disagreeing, and gaining enlightenment and dispensing enlightenment to people. I think that's
Okay.
it.
Yeah. Good. Well, thanks for the interview, Augie. Hope the store continues to do well throughout all of this. And well, Thanks for watching, everyone who came in to watch. Have a have a good day.